Hi.
Hi.
Again, if you're new to the website, welcome. I'm Lou.
John?
You'll see very, very quickly that these are completely unscripted. We just turn up as us. And we talk through a subject. We don't pretend to always come with concise answers because you're in a situation which is very, very complex.
Yep.
But we respond. And we've just done a couple of questions, and it's kind of what's come up in my heart recently is the word clarification. And so we're going to do a little series of, like we're going to do one about boundaries and threats, and they both present in the same way, but they are different. So we're going to kind of clarify the correct kind of term or the correct way of doing things, and the kind of the thing that goes alongside it that we often slip into.
Okay.
But first of all, just want to talk about why we need clarification. Were you confused
good question.
as a drinker? I mean, what does drink do to the processes of somebody?
Oh, it totally confuses them.
Okay.
I wasn't slightest bit confused.
Okay.
Everybody else thought I was confused, but me, I thought I did my best thinking when I was drunk.
That's really interesting.
It is interesting.
And you genuinely believe that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, there were stages where I thought, well, maybe I'm not thinking too straight, but they were few and far between. See, the thing about the drinking alcohol is that you stop worrying about anything.
Okay.
Therefore, why would I worry about being confused when I'm not worrying about anything?
Right.
Okay. I feel as if I can do just about anything when I'm drunk.
Okay. As the professor, what's the reality of what's happening?
The reality of the professor is it knocks out the frontal lobes, which is these bits here, which you think, makes you think. And there's a bit back here which is called the hippocampus, which is the oldest part of the brain. And it's the bit which is habit. It's all the things that the body functions that. It needs to keep you alive, like breathing and your heart beating and all that sort of thing. They're all taken care of back here. But also, if you have overlearned stuff, habit, etc. The kind of things, the easy walking and talking and that all takes place back there. So you can still do most of these things, but the thinking part of it gets more and more muddled.
John, I've never heard you say that so clearly before. That's really interesting. You heard it here first.
Yeah, gosh. And you heard that. That was interesting,
Yes.
You heard that here first.
Okay. So then, of course, there's the confusion of the messages that are coming out. Now, I'm going to talk as a partner here, all right? Because the confusion then that's coming on in you, it then begins to emanate out. And so we become part of that confusion. And it is really confusing. What was confusing for me as a drinker, first of all, is it happening at all? Now, if you live with a constant drinker, then that is easier to spot. If you live with a binge drinker, which I did, there was always this kind of question, what's going on? Am I getting it right? Because all the time the drinker is denying the reality of what's kind of happening. So there's that. There's the confusion of circumstance, but there's also the confusion of what I'm like. Because the second thing that the drinkers tend to do then is pass off their behaviour when it's challenged as being your responsibility.
Yeah.
So my drinker is drinking. If they kind of, in the end, own the fact that they're drinking, basically they'll find as many ways as they possibly can to say it's your fault.
I am totally free. I'm my own person, but it's all your fault.
Yeah.
What that one out if you can,
Yeah. So you're confused about what's happening, and then you're confused about who you are and what's happening inside of you. So you lose yourself, and I'm kind of, I smile. That is a horrible, horrible thing. Am I responsible? Is it something going on inside of me? Am I, and all the time you're reacting angrily anyway, because what's going on with kind of challenge the patience of a saint, so they pick up on that as well. And so in the end, you think you're the instigator of his or her drinking, and so absolute clarity here. What's your response to that?
Which part of it?
You're the author of My Pain and Drinking Behaviour.
Well, I think, to be honest, as far as the drinker is concerned, it's everybody else's fault. You know, it can't be anybody. If I had to blame myself, then maybe I need to change.
Yeah.
You know, and since I'm getting too much out of alcohol, then why would I change? Therefore, if there is a problem, therefore it must be somebody else's fault. You know, and it could be anybody's. It could be the people I drink with. It could be you as my wife. It could be life. It could be my boss. It could be yeah. You know, which excuse would you like today? You know, oh, I'll have a number 23. You know, this is, and I think it's like drinkers do not like to take responsibility. End of story. However, there is another confusion I think that we're going to look at in some of these videos is if you have found this video, this is the first one that you've looked at of ours, or even if you've looked at a few, then you've probably waded your way through the internet and you will have found lots and lots of videos, lots of you know, websites, and you'll find lots of different bits of information.
That's true.
How people look at things. You know, what's the definition of an alcoholic? I mean, how many definitions are you going to get? You know, if you ask the drinker what a definition of an alcoholic is, I always said it was somebody else. That's my definition of an alcoholic.
And your
somebody
point,
else. My point is that what we're trying to do within this website is give you sort of accurate information.
Yeah, well,
Give you information that you can actually trust.
and that's the professor. He's a professor of
Yes.
drink and drugs. He trained a lot of the carers in the drink industry, so he kind of knows his stuff in that area. In terms of how
We wear two hats. You know?
Yeah.
There's a professor, the drunk, and then over here there's the person who lived with the drinker, but also the therapist.
Yeah.
So, you know, the information is coming from two parts here, but as long as it's consistent.
So we can tell you about the drink. What we can't tell you about is your situation, because every situation is completely different. That's why we don't say, well, if you've got A, you do 3, you know, because we don't know you. But also, so all the time when he was talking about an earlier video about pragmatic, solutions, it's an organic way of change, isn't it? It's not a prescriptive way of change.
It's not this isn't algebra.
Yeah.
You know, X plus Y equals Z. It doesn't work like that. Again, it's about your situation. So what we do is we give you a range of solutions and you try and adapt that. You know? We don't actually ask you to adopt a particular solution. We actually ask you to adapt the solutions that we give you.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Adapt the solutions, don't adopt the solutions. Put that somewhere down.
Okay, I'll write that down. Gosh, that's
He's a master of these sort of things.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give you options.
Yes.
You know, but you have to adapt these options to your circumstances.
Yeah.
Obviously, some of the things we say, you'll say, absolutely no way. That's fine. It's okay. There might be a few others that you'll say, oh, well, that might be interesting. That'd be useful.
One primary thing before we go, because it's absolutely crucial. When you live with the drinker, it becomes very confusing as to how to operate, because most people that are working with us in the website, and that's why we did it primarily, is because they love their drinker and they're not ready just to get out, you know. But if you know that you're loved by your drinker and you love them, in any other arena except for drink, there are certain things that happen, that always happen. You know, when you appeal, if you're loved, they listen to your appeal, etc., etc., etc. It's very counterintuitive if you live with a drinker. And so a lot of energy is put in doing stuff that's shooting yourself in the foot by mistake. And we urge you deeply to get clarity about that. The 4 Ps is kind of the hub of that. But there's such confusion about how to go about bringing change. So that above all, and maybe we'll even do a video on that, because that needs to be clarified more than anything. So come and join us on our journey. We'll kind of put various ones as we go along, and please ask us what you'd like us to clarify.
Yeah, do that, please. Because we might be clarifying things that are perfectly obvious to you,
Yeah.
whereas other things we might think are obvious and they're not. So, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't really understand that sentence. You can explain it to me later.
No.
You see, even we get confused.
Thank you, dear. I think it's perfectly obvious.
Anyway, we'll see you again soon. Just join us on this journey.
Yeah, we hope you'll come back.
I'm so sorry. This is just us being us.
Yeah.
Right? Bye-bye. We'll talk to you in a minute. Right. Take care.
Bye.